This is not something that a decent human being could do.
Shocking British royal news. Stop pressuring my father or your children will be expelled. That was the iron ultimatum William delivered to Camilla to protect an exhausted king, Charles III, drained by serious illness. Right after that, the young Prince George suddenly disappeared. William frantically mobilized special forces and was stunned to discover that Camilla was the mastermind behind this sinister kidnapping. The following developments caused horrifying shock when a network of forged signatures and the embezzlement of enormous royal funds was exposed. In the midst of this web of conspiracies, will William be able to bring his son back safely? And how will King Charles react when faced with this despicable betrayal aimed at his direct grandson and rightful heir? Don't miss these dramatic developments because a ruthless twist is about to completely upend the fate of the monarchy forever. The relationship between Prince William and Queen Camilla officially shattered inside the solid stone walls of Windsor Castle. William's fury erupted when he witnessed King Charles III, gaunt and depleted from his cancer treatment, still being pressured by Camilla to maintain an unrelenting, packed diplomatic schedule. William realized this was no longer mere royal duty, but a sinister scheme for personal gain. Camilla was ruthlessly exploiting the king's weakest and most exhausted moments to maneuver her two children from her previous marriage, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez, into positions of power within the core trust funds of the British royal family. Unwilling to allow the monarchy to be manipulated by those without direct royal blood, William confronted Camilla head-on with unprecedented ferocity. In the tense atmosphere of the royal office, the Prince of Wales issued a steel-hard ultimatum, halting all of his stepmother's schemes. "Madam, it ends here. If you do not let my father rest and immediately stop forcing untitled individuals into this power structure, I will show no mercy. I will personally use my authority as heir to expel your children from all royal privileges immediately." William's declaration of war echoed throughout the room, marking a confrontation with no way back. Faced with the future king's unyielding stance, Camilla remained silent, but her eyes revealed clear resentment, signaling that a brutal counterattack was about to be unleashed. Cornered and seeing her children's interests threatened, what dark plan will Camilla execute to control William? The humiliation at Windsor had ignited a blazing fire of hatred in Camilla's heart. Furious that the vital interests of Tom and Laura were under threat, the Queen no longer maintained her usual composure. She understood that if William assumed the regency, her children's future would be wiped clean off the map of power. In the shadows of her sinister schemes, Camilla decided to orchestrate a dangerous drama, a bold move aimed directly at the mortal weakness of the Prince of Wales, the future of his eldest son, the second in line to the throne. The opportunity came on a foggy afternoon at the Sandringham estate, where the royal family was on a private outing. Taking advantage of a momentary lapse in the security team and her own closeness within the family, Camilla secretly instructed a trusted subordinate to carry out the plan. While everyone was focused on afternoon tea, the young Prince George was quietly led away. The boy was taken to a secret room deep within the estate grounds, a place cleverly disguised as a safe play area, complete with toys and amenities. Although she had no intention of physically harming the child, Camilla knew that as long as George disappeared from William's sight for even 1 hour, she would hold the lifeblood of the arrogant prince in her hands. George's disappearance immediately triggered a hidden shockwave. While William was frantically searching for his son in the Norfolk Gardens, a courtier discreetly slipped an anonymous letter into his hand. The cold printed capital letters hit William like a bucket of ice water. "If you do not want to see the future of the monarchy collapse, be smarter. If you do not grant official titles and favor to Tom and Laura within the power structure, George will never return. The prince's time is running out." William clenched the letter tightly in his hand, veins bulging on his forehead. He immediately understood who was behind this filthy charade. Without hesitation, William stormed into the library where Camilla was calmly enjoying her tea as if nothing had happened. The confrontation between the two exploded with sharp, cutting words that tore apart the fake elegance of the aristocracy. "You have gone too far," Camilla, William roared, slamming the letter onto the tea table. "Touching George is the stupidest thing you have ever done in your life. Who do you think you are to dare use the life of a future king as a bargaining chip for your mediocre children?" Camilla did not flinch. She slowly set her teacup down, her eyes sharp, as she stared straight at William. "I don't know what you're talking about, William, but remember, in this world, favor does not come naturally. If you want to protect what you love, you must also know how to protect the people close to others. Your stubbornness is destroying this family. Protect you call kidnapping, my son." "Protection." William stepped forward, his voice dropping into a threatening growl. "You are a cunning old fox who infiltrated this family through lies, and now you intend to use that despicableness to blackmail me. Tom and Laura will never get a single inch of power as long as I still breathe. I swear on my mother's soul I will make you pay dearly for this arrogance." Camilla let out a cold laugh. "Your mother don't bring ghosts from the past here to scare me. The present is what matters. Are you sure you have enough time to stand here arguing instead of going to find George? Every minute that passes is a risk to the boy, Your Highness. I will find George, and when I do, no power in this world, not even my father's protection, will be able to save you from punishment," William replied with ice-cold finality, before turning and walking away. Though his heart was twisting with fear for his son, William maintained the astonishing composure of a military man. Instead of falling into the trap and compromising, he immediately activated the highest-level security network. He secretly summoned forensic experts and the Royal Protection Special Forces, ordering a complete lockdown of the estate and analysis of every tiny detail from the anonymous envelope. William knew he could not afford to back down, because if he compromised today, Camilla would permanently hold the crown in the palm of her hand. Will William manage to trace the accomplice in time before Camilla makes her next move in the plan to manipulate the throne? With sharp professional skills and support from the loyal Royal Security Network, William traced the address of the anonymous letter in just a few short hours. It was not some remote criminal den, but a discreet service department right on the edge of Norfolk, owned by one of Queen Camilla's most trusted courtiers. The betrayal coming from within the palace itself turned William's face as cold as ice as he personally led the Special Forces team to storm the scene. The door burst open, revealing a scene that was both relieving and infuriating. The young Prince George was sitting safely in a brightly decorated room, but the boy's eyes could not hide his bewilderment at his father's sudden appearance. William immediately ordered his son to be taken to a safe vehicle before turning to face the trembling figure in the corner of the room, a senior secretary who had once been heavily favored by Camilla. The man no longer carried the arrogance of a royal official. He collapsed onto the floor as the muzzles of the security team's guns and the blazing eyes of the future king bored into him. "You bastard, you dared to touch the heir of this monarchy!" William roared, his voice echoing in the narrow room. "Speak now who ordered you, if you want to live to see tomorrow's sunlight spit out the truth." Under overwhelming pressure and extreme terror, the courtier immediately surrendered. Shaking, he confessed that the entire kidnapping plan to threaten William had been personally directed by Camilla. But that was not all. In exchange for leniency, he opened a secret safe in the room and handed over a dossier containing shocking conspiracies that Camilla had been secretly operating. William was stunned as he flipped through the documents. There were meticulously drafted letters skillfully forging his own signature. Their content were confessions of cowardice, claiming that William was suffering from severe psychological crisis, felt unfit to bear the responsibility of succession, and wished to voluntarily relinquish the regency to a special council. Even more outrageous, that council was to be headed by Camilla herself. These letters had been prepared to be sent to King Charles III in order to undermine William, while the king was exhausted by serious illness. She intends to destroy me with these lies. William muttered as he examined the forged lines, his hand clenching the paper until it crumpled. A soft coup right under my father's nose. Nor did it stop there. The financial investigation from the accompanying files revealed another dark side. Camilla had been secretly issuing illegal money transfers. She had embezzled a large amount of public funds from the king's personal charity fund intended for global humanitarian activities and funneled it into her son, Tom Parker Bowles's personal account. Fake invoices and shady expenditures disguised as palace maintenance costs exposed the true greedy face of the woman wearing the Queen's crown. William immediately ordered the accomplice to be taken into secret custody and seized all the evidence. He returned to the palace with the mindset of a hunter who had cornered his prey. He did not go to see his father immediately, but chose to confront Camilla once again in her private tea room, where she was still smugly waiting for a plea for compromise. As soon as he entered, William threw the dossier of forgeries and financial statements onto the table, shattering the fake calm. "Your little play is over," Camilla William declared in a steel voice. "George is safe, and your accomplice has confessed everything, from the letters forging my signature to the money you stole from my father's charity fund to feed your worthless son. You are not a queen, you are a thief, a fraud, and a kidnapper." Camilla's face changed color, but she still tried to wriggle out with her cunning, "Don't slander me. Those things could have been planted by someone else to frame me. What right do you have to stand here judging me? The right of an heir protecting the very survival of the crown." William stepped closer, right up to Camilla, his eyes filled with contempt. "What do you think my father will do when he finds out the woman he has loved for so long has been plotting to steal the throne from his son and steal money from the poor? You underestimated me, and you underestimated the justice of the British system. These are not just proof of betrayal. They are a death sentence for your royal career." Camilla trembled, her lips pressed tightly as she saw the unshakable resolve in William's eyes. The truth about the forged signature conspiracy and the embezzlement of public funds were fatal blows she never imagined would be exposed so quickly. Her game of power had officially turned into an irredeemable disaster. Holding these devastating pieces of evidence, how will William face King Charles III to deliver the final blow to Camilla's ambitions? In the quiet study at Sandringham, where only the crackling of the fireplace and the heavy breathing of the exhausted monarch could be heard, Prince William entered with the bearing of a judge. In his hands was the dossier containing the devastating evidence, the skillfully forged signature letters, the list of black fund transactions transferred to Tom Parker Bowles's account, and the horrifying report on George's detention. William placed the documents on the table in front of King Charles III, his eyes cold but burning with determination. "Father, this is the truth about the woman you have placed your complete trust in." William said, his voice dropping with pain. "She has not only embezzled public funds to feed her greedy stepchildren, but she even dared to use George's life to blackmail me. Even worse, Camilla hired people to forge my signature, to force you to sign an order relinquishing the regency to a council she herself controls." King Charles, his face pale from serious illness, trembled as he turned each page of the documents. His eyes widened when he saw the enormous deficits from the personal charity fund and the letters plotting to seize his son's inheritance rights. The shock quickly turned into extreme disappointment and explosive rage. At that moment, Camilla entered the room with a panicked expression, intending to explain, but the king stopped her with a piercing look. "What have you done to my family?" Camilla, King Charles roared, his voice hoarse with fury. "I raised you to the highest noble position, yet you repay me by harming my grandson and betraying my son. Were you planning to steal the crown from William with this despicable lie?" Camilla tried to step closer, her lips trembling. Charles, please let me explain. It's all a misunderstanding. William has staged silence. William stepped forward, blocking her. The evidence does not lie. Your accomplice has confessed everything. You stole money from the poor through the charity fund to enrich Tom. Did you intend to turn this monarchy into a den of fraud? You no longer deserve to wear the title of Queen for even one more second king. Charles III slumped into his chair, his breathing labored. The pain of being betrayed by the woman who shared his bed was more agonizing than any disease he was suffering. After a terrifying silence, the king raised his head. His eyes no longer showed weakness, but the resolve of a monarch protecting the direct bloodline. He picked up the pen and signed the prohibition order that William had prepared in advance. Camilla, you have gone far beyond what I can tolerate, the king declared coldly. From this moment on, you are stripped of all authority to manage public funds. You will be placed under house arrest in an isolated area in Scotland under strict security supervision. You are permanently prohibited from participating in any royal ceremonies or appearing in public as a member of the royal family. Camilla froze her face, turning deathly pale as she watched the power she had painstakingly built collapse in an instant. William delivered the finishing blow. And as for Tom and Laura, they will be stripped of all privileges to access the royal palaces immediately. The entire amount you embezzled for your son must be returned to the charity fund within 24 hours, or they will face a public trial for corruption. Your family has benefited more than enough from the blood and bones of my family. You cannot do this to me. Camilla hissed through gritted teeth, her eyes filled with hatred directed at William. I have devoted my entire life to this family. You devoted it to your own ambition, not to the crown. William replied with utmost contempt. Now get out of here before I order the guards to escort you away like a real criminal. Under William's direction, the royal security forces entered and surrounded Camilla. Under the pressure from the king and the unyielding stance of the Prince of Wales, Camilla had no choice but to shuffle out of the room, leaving behind the royal halo that had officially come to an end. After being expelled and placed under house arrest in Scotland, will Camilla accept this bitter defeat, or will she secretly nurture a plan for revenge from afar? The grey and freezing Scottish sky hung over the isolated area where Camilla was under house arrest, marking the end of an era full of ambition and lies. In London, the gates of Buckingham Palace and Clarence House officially slammed shut in front of Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes. All the glamour power and fake respect that Camilla had meticulously built over decades completely collapsed under the weight of the despicable evidence exposed by Prince William. Inside the king's study, William stood by the window, looking down at the palace courtyard, where squads of guards were performing the changing of the guard with new iron discipline. He had won, but it was a victory soaked in tears and betrayal. King Charles III sat silently in his chair, his eyes filled with melancholy as he stared into space. Camilla's absence did not make the room feel empty. Instead, it brought a strange sense of peace, even though the price was the shattering of one final trust. The fierce power struggle within the stone walls of Windsor and Sandringham had finally come to an end. Prince William's victory was not only a personal triumph, but also a steel-hard message sent to anyone who intended to manipulate the royal throne. Camilla, who once stood at the peak of fame, was now nothing more than a lonely shadow in the desolate Highlands, stripped of all titles and presence in modern royal history. Royal order had been restored under the iron hand of the future king. William looked out toward the horizon of London, where dawn was gradually breaking after the storm. The crown was safe, and his protection of his father, as well as the next generation through George, had become a new symbol of the steadfastness and integrity of the British royal family. Everything had collapsed for Camilla, opening a new chapter for the House of Windsor, a chapter of purification and legitimate strength. What do you think about Prince William's determination and the brutal ending for Queen Camilla in this power confrontation? In your opinion, what lesson does this plot offer about the boundary between personal ambition and the responsibility to protect the survival of a monarchy? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.